tremendous form, and I think with the power of the forwards, I think they'll just hold the key. It'll be a close encounter, poor conditions, very slippery indeed, but I still tip Oldham by about 5 or 6 points.
OK, let's check out the way these two sides line up then on the big league tonight. Beginning with the full-backs, Wally Gibson, the Aussie, and Gary Spencer, who returned to the first team and scored a try against Wigan 2 weeks ago. On the wings, Adrian Bell and Dio Powell, who was on standby for Wales, but Jonathan Davis plays. Scott Ranson scored a vital try at Warrington in the Cup. Lee Child a try in 2 of his last 3 games. Paul Toppings in the centre for Oldham, and Steve McGowan, once of Bradford, returns after injury. Steve Gartland, formerly with Rochdale. Wakefield have flown Adrian Flynn back from yesterday's under-21 international in France. And Nigel Wright flew home with him after Britain's 17-16 defeat against the French. He faces Kiwi Wilson Marsh today. Scrum half, it's Martin Crompton playing as well as ever, as Steve-O says, and another Kiwi, Aaron Whittaker. Teenager Paul Norman, impressive against Warrington in the Cup. He keeps his place. Welshman Ian Marlowe. Jason Timu has settled well since his move from New Zealand, and he signed in 1978 for Wakefield. He's still going strong. It's John Thompson. Hooker, and with a name like Stevenson, David could be nothing else. Billy Conway, over 300 appearances for Trinity. Gary Lord joined Oldham from Halifax in the summer. Wakefield signed Ian Gildart from Wigan at about the same time. Joe Familo is the brother of Leeds Assini. John Hurst has been out of favour since the Regal Trophy defeat at Workington in December. And Kiwi international Mike Kuiti and Nigel Bell, his debut came 11 years ago. Mike Forshaw, by the way, out with a virus. And the coaches, Andy Goodway has a growing reputation at Oldham these days, and Paul Harkin with Andy Kelly is in charge at Wakefield. Match referee is Stuart Cummins, and I think I just saw him mouth to one of the players, "Bye, it's freezing," and it certainly is here in the Stonesborough Championship at the Watersheddings. Oldham against Wakefield Trinity. Oldham in the top 8, but Sheffield's win on Friday night at Hull here on Sky has closed the gap between those two to just 1 point. And Wakefield, they don't lose, otherwise they'll be in serious trouble. There's the substitutes: Hill and Davidson for Oldham, Mosley and Shields for Wakefield. Vital match, very heavy pitch, and the drive there from Ian Marlowe, the Wakefield prop forward. Conway is the dummy half. Here's Adrian Flynn, scored a try yesterday for the under-21 team in Albi against the French, but still Great Britain lost 17-16. And Nigel Wright, another of the under-21 contingent, with the kick downfield. Underneath it was Adrian Bell, but the referee, Mr. Cummings, saying that that fumble went backwards and he allows them to play on.
Well, that'll be a key for the day's game. The wind is very strong. It was swirling around there. Adrian Bell lost it completely.
And he was lucky to get away with it, Steve. Well, that looked forward for mine.
Well, I don't know so much. It bounced backwards.
So right at the start of the match, we're rowing already. That was the second row, Joe Familo picking himself up.
Pretty strong outfit, this Oldham pack. Oh, well.
Nigel Bell simply couldn't get out of the way as Jason Timu raced at him, and then he held on to his waist.
Well, you can see he took a while there. He's got to roll away. Pretty wet conditions. Probably not looking forward to actually doing that, the second rower. Sorry, loose forward Nigel Bell.
Half break there from Scott Ranson up to the halfway line for Oldham. Head-to-head in these games, 19 matches, 2 draws, and it couldn't be closer, could it? If Oldham win today, they level the series. Mike Kuiti, man of the match in the cup tie win against Warrington last weekend. Stevenson, the dummy half. He finds Martin Crompton in a great vein of form, the former Warrington and Wigan scrum half, and Ian Gildart, former Wigan colleague there, tackling him for Wakefield Trinity. Gary Lord now, on to Kuiti again. Lovely little break from Kuiti, and Aaron Whittaker was hauling back the second row forward, Joe Familo, and that's a penalty to Oldham.
Well spotted by the referee, Stuart Cummins. Could see that Whittaker had dragged the man back. He knew that the ball was coming on the inside. You can see it quite clearly there. The second rower had no chance to get to it.
So Aaron Whittaker, the test half-back, just pulling back for Milo. Another Kiwi, of course, conceding the penalty, and the first chance for Oldham to get points on the board. It's going to be Wilson Marsh who will take this attempted goal. Marsh, 29 goals and a drop goal in his last 5 matches. Junior Kiwi of 1988, the same school as Jared McCracken, who had a time with St Helens, of course, New Zealand international. And Wilson Marsh, who kicked so well in that cup tie at Warrington last weekend, booted Oldham into the quarter-finals. Swirling wind here at Watersheddings. Dreadful conditions for goal kickers. But Wilson Marsh just trying to settle the nerves and get one over early here. Got chances. In fact, it's got more than chances. It's home. Flags go on. An Oldham lead here by 2 points to 0. The boot of Wilson Marsh.
This is the reason why the penalty was given. You can see Joe Familo being dragged back by the Kiwi international Aaron Whittaker. Perhaps he'll be happy with the fact that he's only given away 2 points rather than a possible 6. I mentioned earlier this Oldham side, the pack is in outstanding form. A lot of confidence. Can't be said the same for Wakefield. They've lost their last 5.
Nigel Wright with the kick-off into the arms of Crompton. And Oldham in this first half playing up the hill, and it's a considerable slope at Watersheddings. Runs, as you watch the pictures tonight, from left to right on your screens. And very heavy underfoot as well. But I must say, with all the snow, the rain and the sleet that there's been around this past week, the pitch looking in fine condition for all of that. Gary Lord with that drive upfield. Good hands. And here is the man who scored the try, Ranson, but that's good tackling by McGowan. The try last week in the cup tie from Ranson, but no chance this time.
Good cover defence there. See Steve McGowan coming over the top in slippy conditions. Slid the winger over the whitewash. Expect a lot of mistakes today. The rain pouring down, though Wakefield do have the advantage of a slight breeze.
McGowan, tall, long-striding centre, formerly with Bradford Northern, almost having the shirt pulled off his back by Steve Gartland. Whittaker the dummy half, and he gives it then to Ian Gildart. Gildart, former Wigan, almost 140 appearances for the champions. Nigel Bell is playing at loose forward because Mike Forshaw has gone down with flu, pulled out overnight for Wakefield. Rain teeming down. Adrian Flynn, strong run from him. Be interesting to see how Flynn in 4 and Wright in 6, there they are right now in possession. Interesting to see how they survive this match because they played only yesterday for the under-21s in France. Whittaker dabs the ball all along the ground. It skimmed into touch.
Quite happy to just force the ball over the touchline, but a little else was optional there. Talking to his teammates, he's a classy player, Whittaker. The combination of Whittaker and Nigel Wright will be important to try to get Wakefield back into the swing of things.
Yeah, you mentioned he's a class actor, and Whittaker, he certainly is. Gary Freeman, the former New Zealand captain, will testify to that because it was Whittaker who replaced Freeman, you might remember, on that last Kiwi tour for the last test. Neat little run from Adrian Bell. Here's Crompton, just spreading the ball out wide, finds Marsh, and then Marsh tries to set them going again. It was Gartland who was brought to ground. This is Kuiti. Good tackling there by the Wakefield winger Dio Powell. He, of course, will be interested in what's happening across the channel as Wales take on France. But that's a good kick downfield. It won't find touch, and so Steve McGowan will have to run this ball downfield. Lord was waiting for him. So too was Paul Norman.
That's the second big hit that the Oldham prop forward Norman has produced. They really are on fire, this Oldham 6. Strong pack, making sure that the defence is strong.
Gildart with a good strong run. Good tackling from Oldham again. Little Billy Conway, the dummy half. He gives it to Thompson, who in turn gives it to Marlowe. Marlowe a half break. Well watched by Gartland. He was the man doing the tackling. Conway again. Marlowe once more. Big man. Big prop forward. Whittaker spread the play out wide. Adrian Flynn picks up the pieces. Good tackling. Crompton was on him in a flash.
Great defence from Oldham. They're moving up quickly. They're forcing Wakefield into one-out football.
The kick downfield was from one fullback, Spencer, and is picked up by the other, Wally Gibson. First weekend of March, and it really does feel like the middle of December. It's a bitterly cold winter's day here at Watersheddings. And amazingly enough, Steve-o, so many of the people around this ground today have told me to keep up with the call for summer rugby.
Well, on days like this, what else would they be crying for? The lights have come on at Watersheddings. That's how dismal it is.
Here's Wilson Marsh. Now Gary Lord. Last tackle here for Oldham. Crompton looking to put the ball into the Wakefield quarter, but it's spun off the outside of his boot. Nasty bounce for Adrian Flynn, and that made more progress than really the kick deserved.
Just skewed away there, but the centre Flynn was equal to the task, put his body on the line.
Gary Spencer trying to drive the ball out for Wakefield Trinity. 4 successive league defeats behind them against Halifax, Wigan, Castleford and Featherstone. They're back in the relegation dogfight. Beaten by Whitehaven in the Challenge Cup. Their financial problems are more acute than ever.
Good work though from the Wakefield pack there. They've really taken it to nearly to the halfway, and with this wind behind them, they're the tactics, but that is not a good kick from Nigel Wright.
Straight down the throat of Wally Gibson, who's able to run it back. 10 minutes of the first half gone. Oldham ahead by 2-0. Oldham desperate to hang on to their place in the top 8. They're 2 matches away from Wembley. Could this be the year that Oldham finally end their hoodoo? Certainly with a coach like Andy Goodway, anything is possible. He is developing, Steve-o, isn't he, into a fine young British coach.
Yes, he's a good thinker. Puts a lot of time and effort into looking at the videotapes. He's got this Oldham side really ticking. They believe in themselves now.
Gary Lord to Crompton, and he gets it away to Timu. That's the last tackle. Now then, Wilson Marsh, little kick through from him, and well done Nigel Bell. He watched that perfectly.
Bell in the sweeping role there. That was a superb take. Super stuff from the loose forward.
Nigel Bell, he was scrum half in the last win at Oldham in 1988 for Wakefield. That's how long it's been between drinks for Wakefield here at the Watersheddings. Not one of their favourite grounds. But they must guard against losing here today. Otherwise they could be in the thick of the dogfight to avoid relegation. The Thompson's ball inside was picked up by Wilson Marsh. That was easy.
Well, it was a good run from the prop forward Thompson, but there was no support coming towards him. Wilson Marsh obviously putting himself in between, making a nuisance of himself, finishing up with a football. Pretty tight though, both defences are pretty strong.
11.5 minutes gone, it's 2-0 to Oldham. Crompton with a little ball to Timu. Timu trying to break his way through this Wakefield defence. Crompton again, maybe a touch of obstruction there, but Oldham now attack with Kuwaiti, and that was a forward pass. The referee actually has given Oldham the penalty for offside, but it was definitely a forward pass, the last one for Oldham.
Neat play though. Kuwaiti sends the second rower, Gary Lord, on the inside, and you could see Stuart Cummings was well in front of the play. He played the advantage. He knew that Wakefield were well and truly offside. Like to see that from the merry whistleblowers, playing the advantage. The crowd, the fans, they love to see open play.
Mr. Cummings knew that the pass was forward. I read his lips then, but the penalty given for offside against this Wakefield defensive line.
You can see on the replay there, just about a foot forward. My friend next to me, as always, the eagle eye.
So Wilson Marsh now with the second penalty attempt of the afternoon. This time exactly 20 metres out. Marsh telling me after last week's cup win at Warrington that he was a bit concerned the way his field kicking had been going. He thought he might have been dragged off. A good job for him and for Oldham that Andy Goodway decided to persevere with him. His goal kicking that day proved priceless, and it might do again today, but not like that.
Well, he expected the wind to take it back on course like it did with his first penalty attempt. That was successful. But they'll be quite happy, Oldham, with having a lead and playing up and against this strong wind.
Scampering run from Adrian Bell, all wrapped up by Ian Marlowe. Stevenson at dummy half. Another forward pass in mind. I think the referees agreed too. Stuart Cummings, the pass to Gary Lord was a yard forward.
See, you're on form today, Eddie. Sure was. Crompton delayed the pass far too long. Well, that's the second attempt that Gary Lord has gone through.
Prop forward team who then coming around the back of the scrum and trying to hack the ball out with his left foot. Nigel Wright, though, is able to retain possession for his team. Interesting that Nigel Wright and Adrian Flynn flown back this morning from the south of France in that match in Albi, thanks to the generosity of a club supporter. I mentioned earlier the Wakefield Trinity's financial problems being acute. Had it not been for that supporter, Flynn and Wright would have been in France today watching the Welsh international. There is Nigel Wright, trying to make sure that the supporters' money was well spent. He's 30 metres from the Oldham line. This is the last tackle, and again Whittaker will just kick for territory. Defiance touch deep in the corner, so he's now hoping that Oldham will make the mistake from the scrum.
Basic football, taking the option into the corner, hoping in these wet conditions that Oldham may make a mistake within their own quarter. Played for Chorley, but he certainly has fitted in well with the Trinity outfit.
Referee Stuart Cummings has just called Nigel Wright to him. I don't know whether there's some chipping from Nigel Wright, the referee. Whatever, the Wakefield standoff is far from impressed. He shakes his head, takes his place in the defensive line.
He thought he got a late tackle and he raced across to the referee, Cummings, whilst the player was continuing. Said a few choice words, perhaps.
Now Adrian Bell trying to go up that hill, and in heavy going, that will be difficult. But tackling back, Flynn was there, so too Lee Child. Here's Kuiti. Ooh, not the best pass from Kuiti, and Oldham lucky to pick up the pieces in the shape of Steve Gartland.
Well, they've just wasted a lot of territory there that was gained from them by a good run by Adrian Bell. He's a strong winger. But we mentioned early in the game that wet conditions, there'll be plenty of mistakes.
Good run from Crompton, but as he fell, he tried to release the ball and then thought better of it. In fact, he did release it, and Nigel Bell got the possession back.
Panic football, they don't need to do that.
Good drive by that Oldham defence. Crompton just trying to force the pace. Nigel Wright ducking under the challenges again. And he doesn't look happy, Nigel Wright, with the treatment he's receiving. It's Paul Topping who he was having a very close look at.
Well, that's the second occasion that Nigel Wright has looked at the tackler. Perhaps he thinks that they shouldn't touch him. Offside.
Oldham straight up at the play. The ball referee gave Wakefield the chance for advantage, non-forthcoming.
Well, Martin Crompton never made any attempt to go back. He had a few friends with him as well. Well, playing the advantage, Stuart Cummings, as all the referees are doing so these days.
Martin Crompton just looking a little rueful at that penalty award, but no doubt about it, the Oldham defensive line was like a dog's hind leg, and so Nigel Wright has the chance to level the scores. We've been playing here now almost 18 minutes, and it's 2-0 to Oldham, and the snow and the sleet is starting to come down with a vengeance. Nigel Wright, 37 successful kicks this season and 11 drop goals as well. Really is refining his feet and his form after he went from Wakefield to Wigan, then was loaned back to Wakefield until the end of this season. Here's the kick. The wind swirled underneath that, but it bounced and it went dead in goal. But you can see the awful conditions and the shocking conditions that we've all got to get used to here.
Well, a bad mistake there, touched by the Oldham player. That means a drop out from under the sticks. It was Crompton that made a dash at it. Bad mistake there, so that's two silly mistakes, and that is a damn good kick under those conditions. Yes. Wakefield were caught asleep then.
The ball just skimmed off the turf at one end, and then it did exactly the same up on halfway.
Well, they really shouldn't allow things like that to happen. Well, it's going to turn into a forward battle with the sleet and the snow driving down. Not conditions for fancy footwork or fancy passing.
2-0 Oldham ahead. Aaron Whittaker in possession for Wakefield. Billy Conway's the dummy half. And here now is John Thompson driving it into the Oldham quarter. Ian Marlowe, perhaps on another day, he would have been in Carcassonne with the Welsh today in that European Championship match against the French. Nigel Wright, so close, that's the last tackle.
Nice switch there from Wakefield.
Whittaker just dabs it through, and Oldham are relieved to drop on that loose ball.
Well, it was a nice option in these conditions. Anything can happen, but good work from the prop forward, Paul Norman.
So Oldham will come again up this hill. Gildart with that tackle. It is, as you say, Steve-O, a slog today. That's 5 tackles gone for Oldham. And Marsh trying to boot the ball downfield to relieve the pressure. He only reaches halfway. And Dio Powell, another man who might well on another day be in Carcassonne with the Welsh, runs it back. The tackle from Kuwaiti. Conway the dummy half. McGowan is the runner. Again, for the second time today, McGowan almost has the shirt pulled off his back. Oldham enjoying the better of the possession. They're ahead by 2 points, that's all. Quarter of this match gone, 20 minutes. Here come Wakefield again, down the slope with Nigel Wright. Tries to duck under the challenge, escapes the clutches of Lord, but can't get away from Kuwaiti. Whittaker, Thompson. Thompson to the second rower, that's John Hurst.
Good drive as well from John Hurst. Really did run through it.
And again, safety first from Billy Conway. The third time in the opening 21 minutes here that they've found touchdown this right-hand side.
Well, that's a nice option again. It's all about safety first. Really is cold and the wind blowing.
Oldham then back in possession. They lost their first 4 games of the season. But with play like this from Timu, they have got themselves back out of a bit of trouble. It wasn't Timu, it was Faimilo. It was a wonderful run.
That'll certainly lift the spirits. Oh, that looked pretty high from the fullback, Gary Spencer.
Crompton. Here's Wilson Marsh. Kuwaiti wants it out wide. Gibson's joined the line. Little hole for Gibson. Taken low by Conway and high by Powell, and too high. Stuart Cummins, penalty to Oldham.
See Powell going right over the top and then went for another dig at him. Fullback Wally Gibson not happy with it, but it was a superb pass from Mike Kuwaiti. You see the swinging arm over the top, off the top of the shoulder. A little bit too aggressive from the winger Dio Powell. Well, I'm not so sure in these conditions that this is the right option to try to get the 2 points. He has put one over from just around about this same area, but has missed one also. And after 2 great runs like that, I think I would have been going for a quick tap, keep the momentum going.
So Wilson Marsh, 1 from 2. As Steve-O said, the first successful kick was from this range. Perhaps about 5 metres further infield, but similar. And the second kick that was unsuccessful was from about 5 or 6 metres further forward on the quarter line there. So Wilson Marsh, playing his 6th game in a row at standoff half. 69 points now for his club in the 5 1/4 games that he's played. Given a contract just before Christmas, he thought at one stage he was on his way home back to New Zealand. Andy Goodway offered him the contract, gave him the chance, and he's gleefully accepted it with both hands. And this time he gets closer, but he still just shaves the upright. So it stays at 2 points to 0, and 24 minutes now gone here at Watersheddings. There's Andy Goodway, the Oldham coach, just discussing tactics, no doubt, with the person alongside him, and watching his team battle their way up this hill in the mud, holding on to this 2-point lead. Adrian Bell with the run, Marlowe and Nigel Bell with the tackling. Gary Lord, the man brought in from Halifax.
Well, both sides are finding it pretty difficult to get through a tight defence. Change of tactics perhaps, a little kick or chip over the top, a little grubber kick on early in the tackle rather than expecting and wait until the 5th or 6th.
Well, Billy Conway then, as Wilson Marsh went down, he raised his hands to the referee. I think he thought he was going to be pulled for tripping, but the referee, Stuart Cummins, gave him benefit of the doubt. This is the last tackle, and the high kick from Marsh. That's dangerous. The wingers come for it. Dio Powell, didn't he take it well? Barreled then by Timu.
Did he ever? Jason Timu, that went high. Surprised he got away with that. But didn't he take it well? And he took a real bad knock, put his body on the line, and Timu came at him like an express train.
And Dio Powell is on his haunches, the wind taken completely out of his sails. There he is, just in the back of the picture there, as this tackle on Gary Spencer comes in by Mike Kuiti. Conway dummy half, Whittaker, Marlowe. Good tackling stint by Oldham now. That's the last one. Wakefield still deep in their own territory. Nigel Wright kicks the ball down the hill, says, come on, let's get out of here. Not a bad kick either. Bell, Adrian Bell, the Oldham winger, has to retreat to pick up. Referee Stuart Cummins is marching these Wakefield players back 10 metres, but they're not coming with him, and he's shouting and screaming at them to get back the full 10. Bit of space here maybe for Crompton. Now Gary Lord, looking round the corner, Lord for support, none was there. Ranson had drifted in off the wing. David Stevenson, the dummy half, gets away from one tackle from Hurst, and can't get away from the next 3.
Good run there from the hooker, who was looking for the inside pass. There was no one trailing him.
Wilson Marsh, Timu, and Marsh has gone round on the support, and Nigel Wright stood his ground.
Good play from the prop forward, Timu there. You could see he just held the ball up for Marsh to come to him.
That's for Milo. His kick into nowhere in particular, and Dio Powell has to pick up another loose ball, and he's being given some treatment.
Good positioning from the winger though. You could see he had his eyes on that all the time. But a lot of power coming into him. Fitness is going to tell in this game. It's rough and it's tough.
Lee Child with that little run. The 20-year-old has scored tries in 2 of his last 3 matches. Conway again, dummy half. Thompson overruns it, so he gives it to Marlowe. Last tackle again for Wakefield. They're still penned inside their own half. Wright again will kick downfield. Wally Gibson is there. Gibson will run it back. 2 prop forwards, Marlowe and Thompson, bring him down. Ranson. David Stevenson, and here's Milo. Good run, good tackling though. Crompton. Marsh then gives the ball in field to Norman.
Good tackle there from Thompson from Wakefield. Excellent stuff. He read it well on the inside ball.
Crompton, lovely reverse ball inside.
This is where Crompton has to come out with some of the tricks.
And there he is, Crompton, side-footed it towards the corner. And the Wakefield man dropped on it, John Thompson. Thompson, the 35-year-old, he's been at Wakefield since 1978. One club man, tremendous record.
Well, a right there from Dio Powell. Got his head shoved into the mud. He's had to do some work as a winger.
Here's Adrian Flynn. Good run from Adrian Flynn. Super run. And good tackle from Wilson Marsh in the end.
Could see the strength in Flynn's legs there.
Nigel right through the gap. And downhill too. Gets away from the prop forward. Support is there from Conway. And Conway, as Topping slips, goes in for the try. Good try. Put it down to Nigel Wright's break. But the conditions rob Topping of the chance to get the tackle in. And Conway's first of the season gives Wakefield the lead.
Well, the fan that brought back Nigel Wright from France on the plane has got some of his money back there. It was a superb dummy. Adrian Bell went on the outside. Look at the composure then on the standoff. But super work from the hooker, Billy Conway. He went in and out, and once it sent Topping the wrong way, there's nothing he could do about it. This is a superb try. Skills from Nigel Wright. Look at the dummy there. Bell took it, but this is the important factor. He keeps cool, he knows the hooker is on the inside. Now look at the step and then in and out. Topping said, where on earth has he gone? I'll tell you where it is. Over the try line. Excellent play from Wakefield.
Billy Conway punctuates his 229th appearance for this his only club with his first try of the campaign, and Nigel Wright has added the extra 2. And Wakefield now have a 6-2 advantage over Oldham. We have 10 minutes plus stoppages to the half-time break.
There you can see 2 men have gone for 1 man. Nigel Wright gets in the clear. The dummy's there. Nothing that Adrian Bell can do about it. Strides away. And look how Conway, he trails on the inside as every hooker should do. But that is superb play. He turned Topping inside out.
Billy Conway, an outstanding junior player. He's now 28 years old. And he was in the side which won at Oldham in the second division in 1988, their last win here at Watersheddings.
Well, that came as a bitter blow to Oldham. They were slowly and surely taking control of this game. Strong runs from the forwards, especially Joe Familo. Mike Kuiti, man who's doing the tackling there. They certainly have put the work into it. But what a counter-punch from Wakefield.
Nigel Bell now trying to conjure something else up for Wakefield Trinity, who drew here 20-all last season in Division 1. But they've got to go back to 1981 for their last win here in the top flight. Both these clubs coming out of the second division at exactly the same time. Credit to them on something you would probably call shoestring budgets. They have stayed in the top flight since '88.
Nigel Wright using the kick again. Wakefield have used it to its fullest advantage in this first half. They're playing down the slope. Now they're in the lead, controlling the game. Nothing better to build your confidence than to score a try. That magnitude really was super stuff.
Here come Oldham then. The rain comes down again. It's one of those days where the wind blows the clouds away and then it relents and the rain, the snow and the sleet returns. Not a day for the faint-hearted. Oldham were beaten by Wakefield in October by 16 points to 21. They're anxious to redress the balance here today on home soil, or home mud as it might be this afternoon. But so far, Wakefield doing well under some intense pressure too. Dio Powell traps it and then sets off on a run. Takes on Norman and bounces him out of the way, but he can't hold on to the football.
He's dropped it.
And the referee's given the knock-on.
But I'm not so sure it wasn't helped along by Topping. Well, safety first is normally the key in your own quarter. He tried the second effort to make that extra yard and it didn't come off. Oh, and Crompton's dropped it.
Oh, and he'll be furious with that, Martin Crompton. Furious with himself, and he knows the mistake.
Well, they tried to do a neat move close to the scrum with Mike Koichi, the loose forward, peeling off on the inside. But Crompton just took his eyes off the ball and dropped it.
Steve-o, this is not a day for the neat move.
No, not really. But I still maintain that fitness will carry the day.
Wakefield in possession. Nigel Bell. Three of them bring the 32-year-old loose forward down. Conway, the try scorer. Thompson, Marlowe. Big, strong lad is Ian Marlowe. 32 years old. And 6 consecutive matches for Wales, but then all of a sudden Welsh got an embarrassment of riches in the shape of Skerritt, Hall and Cowie and company. And Marlowe now finds himself on the fringe of that Welsh squad. I'm sure he's in Clive Griffith's thoughts, though, for the World Cup. That's a super run. That is a tremendous run, but that's a forward pass to Koichi. The referee says play on. Ranson has joined the line and is going for the corner and will score. And Ranson improves the angle, but Wally Gibson's run set it up the hill from one end of the field to the other. An element of a forward pass about Koichi's ball out to Scott Ranson, but it's Wally Gibson on the left of your screen there who really started that ball rolling.
What a superb run from Wally Gibson. Look at the balance. In and out, the determination. A quick look, he knows he's got someone on the inside. That man is Koichi. The referee gave him the benefit of the doubt because Koichi had to reach back for it. But look at Ranson go for the line. A lot of wingmen would have been quite happy to plunk the ball down there. But he knows it's important to get as near to the sticks as possible. Beautiful run from Gibson. 50-50. I'm not so sure that it was forward. He reached back for it. But look at the winger go. Pins his ears back there, but this is the most important factor. Gets further round, makes it easier for the goal kicker, Wilson Marsh.
So Wilson Marsh with one successful kick from 3. This by far the most easy. What a sensational run from defence to attack by Wally Gibson. Marsh with the conversion attempt then. This is an important kick. He should kick it. Oh, but he's hit the post and it goes over. Oh, and he says to himself, come on. He knows how important these 2 points might be.
Well, when you kick down, your chase has got to be important. But look, there's 3 Wakefield players there. And look at the gap that Gibson's been allowed to run through. You have to move up as one unit. You can't just hang back and have a bit of a rest. And it was a 50-50 ball. It was right on the line there. He reached back, but look at the wingman go. That is excellent football.
Yes, that's the sort of play that Andy Goodway will have wanted, and you'll see there a clean jersey in the shape of Paul Davidson, who has come on for Paul Norman. Davidson, the former witness forward, who jumped at the chance of joining Oldham during the summer. Gary Lord goes down under the challenge. Oldham will be delighted with this situation, up this hill in these conditions, and ahead now with, what, just about 3 minutes to go to half-time.
This is where they've got to use their composure, Oldham. Not get too excited and overconfident.
Good play that by Davidson.
They'll be happy to go into the half-time break, as Eddie mentioned.
Crompton to Marsh. With a high kick from Marsh, and he hairs off after it himself. Spencer comes for it and takes the high ball confidently.
Took it well, did Gary Spencer, but good refereeing from Stuart Cummins. There were 2 Oldham players offside. He quickly shouted at them, get back. They did. Thus we get open play.
Wakefield then in possession. It's Spencer again for them, the full-back. Gildart Bounces off one, and Davidson wouldn't let him make more progress. Conway at dummy half. Here's Thompson now. He crosses into the Oldham half of the field. Good tackling though. Timu was in there quickly. Nigel Wright sidestepped inside Kuiti. Oh, this fella's got a lot of class, and the support was there from McGowan. McGowan dabs it through. Flynn's after it.